Okay, cool. I like to dance.
Welcome back to another episode of We Are Human with the one and only Ryan Jones.
I think we bonded in Algebra 2, but then I remember that and then music theory. I just remember
Classes.
bonding over music though too. Like you had this, you've always had a vision, but you had this vision for your nation, and then you just wanted to do something. You were super inspired by Tyler, the Creator, and we would just talk. We would just talk and dream so big, and I just remember that very distinctly. I never visited people's houses, and just being in somebody's house feels very intimate, and you get another view of them. And then coming to your house, it was like a step into we're really close friends.
Yeah, I mean, you were conversing with my mom this morning. I don't even think she decided this, but the house was always the place that people could come to. Everybody was always over.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
When I was growing up, I went back and forth between my households until I turned 18. And so it wasn't that the households weren't open, it was just that one household was really far away and no one really had the capability of driving out that far. And then the other house, I was just so embarrassed. I just was the type of person who was very embarrassed by everything.
You moved for a couple years and then you moved again to Georgia.
I've always been
on the move.
On the move, always. Yeah, even when even when I was with you guys, like I said, I would go from house to house. I've literally always had this very nomadic lifestyle, which
Can you elaborate on that? Because I think that there are people who need to hear it. I mean, I need to hear it. That's such a terrifying concept,
Really? Why is
for
it
some people, for me it is.
Okay.
The idea of just, saying I'm out and just going for it.
Yeah.
Stepping into the unknown.
So when I went to my mom's, it was home. When I went to my dad's, it was home. But it was just two very different lifestyles.
Yeah.
So I wanted a stable household, and I told my mom, and she moved me out, and I moved in with my dad, and I moved to Savannah because I wanted to live on my own. That was always a goal of mine, was to be self-sufficient, and I really wanted to prove that I could take care of myself for a long time, so that no one was accountable for me except for me.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be my own person and figure out who that person was. So I reached out to a friend of mine in Savannah, and she was more than welcoming, and so I packed up, moved there. I went up there, looked for a job, got a job quickly, and then she wouldn't answer her phone for a bit, and she wouldn't answer her phone the next day, and then the next day, and I was like, if I can't get a hold of her, I need a backup plan. I need to find a place to live. I met Maddie and Francisco, Maddie is my best friend. I love that girl to pieces. And at the time, even living with her, I had no idea that we were gonna be the friends we are now. And they were really gracious, and they had a lovely house, and then I just lived in Savannah and met Joanne, who is my partner, and I just learned how to work with people and live with people. There was so much thinking and processing, letting go of learned behaviors that didn't suit me. And Joanne was such a big help with that, Kat was such a big help with that. It was just learning how to rework a thought process that didn't suit me. If I have a bad day now, I don't call it depression because I don't think I suffer from depression. I've never been clinically prescribed or anything, but if I'm having a day where I feel sad, I will let myself feel that way and know that it's not gonna last. That, you know, I kind of have been learning how to work with the feeling and acknowledging it instead of like trying to stuff it in because
or suppress it.
Yeah, this isn't my best possible self, and I have such my personality is that I always have to be the best, you know, I always have to be my best self. And then, you know, like the self-love aspect came into it, and which is sick because I think we're coming up, because in high school, like we weren't really taught that, but then like in our I'm still early 20s, but like I feel like that's a lesson that's like so in culture now, which was so helpful because I feel like I've learned that a lot more, and just to be gentle with yourself.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a learning curve.
Something that I'm realizing about myself is that I thrive off of like the feeling of purpose.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a deep combo.
That's a deep one. I love that.
So when you can help somebody else, not even like, of course I'm genuine with it and I do want to help, but I think that that's like my hidden agenda, because everybody has like a hidden agenda deep down. Like this gives me a little bit of like life and purpose, and I'll thrive off of it and feel good about helping someone else. It just gives me like a reason to kind of like keep going.
I'm such a person who gets distracted so easily, and to me, seeing you do that is the coolest thing. Like I am addicted to that feeling of inspiration. I love it. Yeah. And I'm like always trying to seek it. And I feel that when I have conversations with friends or when I watch other people have conversations, like my problem with that is sometimes I become too much of a consumer that I don't put out the amount that I take in. Yeah.
If you're taking in kind of like mindless content, to a degree, you know, at some point you're just going to be like, this is a distraction, or it's just passing the time.
Yeah, and then also the productivity level. Like, just because you're consuming so much doesn't mean that, you know, after a while, the juice wears off. You've taken in too much, and it's like, you know, then if you do have the weird addiction thing, then you're like looking for more, when it's just best to step back and like breathe. The music that you've heard since you've been to shows, since I've been a baby Ryan Jones performing, have stayed with me up until this point now, and have not been released, and have been such a long process, and I need to get rid of them and let them go and be free. And it's like driving me crazy. Like I need to like push them out at this point. I am so perplexed, interested in artistry and like being an artist and the artistic process and like everything that encompasses the title of artist. And for a long time I never felt like that, and that's where one of my songs stemmed from, and then that like crippled me. It took me a long time to write songs. I never finish songs on the expected time frame that I want to. I wish I could just put songs out like that, but I can't, and I have to be okay with that. Yeah, so then that played a factor, and then my expectation for big production with these songs, because now that I was comfortable working with people, I wanted to like make these songs blast off and like have all this intricacy, but I didn't know how to communicate that. You know, I knew what I wanted in my head, but I couldn't verbalize what I wanted to whoever I was working with. this is taking me 5 years. And I never wanted that timeline. But I could, you know, there's only so much I can control.
And at the same time, like the music doesn't have a deadline.
Yeah. When you have an artist mindset, you can't compromise on your vision.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be an artist. But at the same time, you do have to compromise. Like, you can be hard-headed, you can be that type of artist, but I have found that that doesn't make me happy. That doesn't make the people who I'm working with happy. So why do I want to be that artist?
People are gonna be more prone to like listen to you if you have a song that I think will really resonate with somebody.
Yeah.
Or make them dance. Like
dance is a good one. And I'm gonna throw another thought. You have to think about like where are you coming from when you create art? A lot of the time it just came from like not feeling like I had a voice, or like somebody didn't love me, and like I created it from this like sad place. And then the older I got, I was like, I don't want to create art from a sad place. Like, a dance song is such a good point. Like,
because everybody will enjoy it.
Yeah, it's universal. It like spans everyone on the spectrum of life. Joanna and I, we have started a project, and a big part of our process is drawing. I came up to him and I said, I want this project to encompass moments, like a moment that you have. And I told him, a reoccurring moment for me is eating a croissant, like a good, beautiful croissant. And just the sound of a croissant, like the process of it is amazing. It's just a bunch of laminating dough and butter and getting all these layers of this texture, and then it gets baked, and then you have these beautiful flaky bread bits that you get to eat. And I told him, I was like, anytime I eat a croissant, it's just the most wonderful experience, and I love every part of it. I love the tactileness of like the sound of it, like I love how it gets everywhere when you eat it. I love the flavor, and I was like, I would love to like make this into sound. And he was like, okay. So we drew the croissant, and then we like, this has been our process, but we like wrote out how it makes us feel and the experiences that we both have. And his experience with it is completely different than mine, and your experience is completely different.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, let's meld our experiences together. That's just kind of been a process we've been trying out.
That's really cool.
It's so much fun, and it goes along with like the whole improv thing and like the stream of consciousness and like not making things so heavy. Whenever I'm trying to cultivate any type of experience now with anyone that I work with, I want it to be fun, and I want it to be something that we both want to do.
Yeah.
And that we both want to come back to, and then the energy will translate to an audience. An audience is smart, you know, they're gonna pick up, even though if they don't know what happened right before this interview, they'll pick up on it because energies are, you know, you can just read people.
Yeah.
If I can bring the best energy and the best version of myself to the table during a collaboration, that's my goal. I mean, you're constantly collaborating with people. How has your relationship or the process of that been for you?
I'm never physically there. Like,
What do you mean?
My whole approach or thought process is like, do whatever you want to do. Like, that's really it. Like, I'm here to facilitate your vision and execute it. Like, I'm not the creative person of like, like, oh,
Yes.
theory, this chord structure, blah blah blah. Like that's not me. Like I
Yeah.
forgot everything from theory, and I just try not to be involved, but I try to give the resources to everybody to make sure that they can do it.
Yeah. So you have like an artist, and then you have a designer, and the designer facilitates the needs of the artist.
Okay.
And the artist brings the creativity, the ideas, the feeling, everything that the project is, and this is everything that facilitates the project. So you're like the worker bee who's like gonna make sure everything happens, and everything happens the way that this person wants it to happen. And then like the designer checks the artist, like, you can't do that. Like, I'm sorry, but you can't bring like 500 people into this room for us to record because we don't have the right mics, you know, like the more technical aspect of, anyway. And when I thought about it that way, it helped me understand the jobs that people had better. Not that the designer can't be the artist, and you know, you can't be both, but
That's just where I'm always floating
yeah,
by. Like,
I love it. Oh, that's so cool.
thanks.
Yeah. Thank you. I love talking to you. I hope that you can piece stuff together. I'm afraid that this won't make any sense.
It will.
It
Trust
will.
me.
You're good.
It will make
You're good
sense.
at this. I trust you. I've your trust. Here.
Let me
Take the
that.
trust.
And that's a wrap.